little Hurwitz is turning 13. This week, he will celebrate his bar mitzvah, a Jewish rite of passage that marks the beginning of a new phase in his spiritual life.
The bar mitzvah ceremony is a ceremony of when you become from a child to an adult. It's basically the bye-bye for being a child.
This is a time for Mendel to begin thinking more about the world and his place in it.
You start thinking, hey, I'm bar mitzvah, now I should be starting questioning things. Why is the sky blue? Why is the grass green? Is God the person with the old white beard?
My son Mendel, I like the way he questions things. Questioning is the heart of Judaism.
During his bar mitzvah, Mendel will lead a service in the synagogue and read aloud from the Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible.
Again, part of Oprah Winfrey's 7-night series called Belief. Took 3 years to make. She was interviewed in the Huffington Post, and the interviewer asked the question, how did the idea for the Belief series come about? Her response was, and I quote, "It came about because my ultimate goal is to connect ideas in such a way that people see themselves in the stories of others. And I know what an enormous role my belief system has played in my life. I know that you become what you believe, and that your beliefs really determine what you manifest in your life. So I thought looking at the idea of what other people believe throughout the world would strengthen the viewer's faith and ideas in their own beliefs, and would also give you a connection to experience what other people believe throughout the world in a way that allows you to better illuminate yourself." Dr. Ron Rhodes is with us, president of Reasoning from the Scriptures Ministry. I'm going to the phones in a bit. Ron, what does it mean to illuminate yourself?
Well, that's a good question, and I think part of the answer has to relate to what are you using to illumine yourself. The issue is the object of illumination. Is it something that is any religion? Does anything go? Or is there an objective reality? And that's one of the reasons I drew a distinction between truth and facts. As you know, today there's just a lot of opponents of truth. Relativism says there's no absolute truth. Agnosticism says that we are unsure about truth. Skepticism says that we doubt all truth. And pluralism says that we affirm opposite truths. Oprah Winfrey talks about this illumination. Well, here's something that's illuminating to me. When you look at all the different world religions, they all have different concepts of the primary doctrines of those religions. Consider the doctrine of God as an example. Jesus taught there's only one God and that he's triune. Muhammad taught that there's only one God, but there's no Trinity and that God cannot have a son. Confucius believed in many gods. Zoroaster said there's a good God and a bad God. Buddha said the concept of God was irrelevant. Hinduism teaches pantheism, the idea that everything is God. Janet, all those cannot possibly be true at once. And for anybody to claim that advocates of each of those religions become illumined indicate to me that, she believes that people can be illumined with absolutely contradictory ideas. And to me, it's nonsensical. It's like a non sequitur. But there you have it. Now, I have to say that this is part and parcel of what she's done in the past. If you look at the kind of people that she's had on her shows, she used to have a lot of New Agers on. You know, people like Deepak Chopra and Marianne Williamson and Shirley MacLaine, that great theologian, and just many other people. And they all believe that truth is relative, that you can have your truth and I can have my truth, and that the greatest sin is for me to infringe upon your truth. You know, that's the thing that you just cannot possibly do. But nevertheless, there you have it. This idea that you can believe opposites and still be just fine, that somehow all of these things are true.
Ron, you've been doing this for quite some time, so let me just ask you a sort of sociological question. I guess I could categorize it that way. We live in what is often referred to as a post-Christian, more to the point, a postmodern era. The hallmark of that era is that there is no longer a universal sense of moral absolutes, a transcendent code of right and wrong. That offers some interesting challenges for us as ambassadors for Christ when we are to declare his truth and to make those statements that Jesus is exclusionarily the way to God and he alone, although that offer is to everyone, so there is the inclusive part again. Let me repeat that. But if you do not believe there's a transcendent moral code of right and wrong, then while it's the same lie that was perpetuated beginning in Genesis 3 that we shall be like gods, it seems to be manifesting itself now more in the 21st century than ever before, which is that might be your truth, but that's not my truth. The subset of a declaration like that is arrogance, is it not? That we are making it up. If there's no transcendent truth, then we must be the truth teller and the truth maker because we're not adhering to something bigger than ourselves.
Well, that's right. And I think it's important to recognize that you and I as Christians are the mail deliverers. We deliver the message and the claim of someone else, and that someone else being Jesus Christ, who is God. And I'll pick this up on the other side of the break.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. Dr. Ron Rhodes is with us. By the way, we've always got tremendous resources when Ron comes to visit because he's such a prolific author. So check out our website, inthemarketwithjanetparshall.org, inthemarketwithjanetparshall.org, and we've got a great resource there. In fact, it's called The New Age Movement. Check it out. More after this.
What is my belief practice today? Today, I feel the fierce love of all that is God. So deeply, so strongly, and so purely in my heart that it lifts and carries me. And sometimes I actually feel weightless in the love that is God because I feel it in all things. I actually awaken to birds twittering in the morning now, the original tweets. And because I'm not so focused on because I've reached a point in my life where I actually pay attention to every breath. And my spiritual practice is that I awaken and the first thought is thank you. And the next thought is I'm still here in this body. And my heart's desire is to want to live and be in this body fully present to everything, to all beings, to all things, to not miss this experience of being here, now, on the planet we call Earth.
Oprah Winfrey, in her own words, so you can begin to understand some of the subtext behind this 7-night special that she did on her own network called Belief, where it really was, I'll put it in my parlance, comparative theology. She was looking at all the world religions out there, not all, the major world religions out there. Excuse me, and the subtext was really, we're all on the same journey. We might be taking separate paths, but we're all on the same journey. Dr. Ron Rhodes is with us, president of Reasoning from the Scriptures Ministry. And I was asking you, Ron, about the hallmark of this age, where there is no longer a sense of transcendent right and wrong. Please continue where you were leaving off.
Well, I was beginning to talk about how people who say that there is a transcendent right and wrong that's true for all people everywhere, these people are accused of being arrogant, and I know that I've been accused of that. And the point that I just wanted to make was that, you and I are not better than anybody else. I am not better than any person on planet Earth. And accepting and proclaiming God's one way of salvation is really not arrogance, but it's humility, kind of like a beggar telling another beggar where to find the bread. And the illustration I used was, I'm just the mail deliverer. Christians do not edit or write, nor are they the authors of Jesus' words. We rather just deliver those words to other people. And so I do speak with a spirit of humility about all of this, because I'm not setting myself up as anybody's judge, but rather because of my love for people, I want to communicate the truth to them. Now, Janet, if I could, Oprah was just talking about love and experiencing the love of God, and certainly you and I would both agree that God is love and that he is loving. However, I need to make the very important point that all throughout both the Old and the New Testament, we are taught that if we love God, we will obey God. And among God's most stringent commands are those that tell us to come out and be separate from false religions. And one indication for a lack of love for God, biblically, is to be okay with false religions in our world and to not separate from them. And so I think that we can't just pick and choose our doctrines. The Bible is very clear on the nature of God, and God is love, but he's also truth, and he is holy, and he is just, and he is righteous. And anybody who rebels against his truth that he has revealed in the person of Christ will have to one day answer for it. And that, Janet, motivates me to be bold enough to tell the truth in the name of Jesus Christ, even though I know there are many who will stand against me. And Janet, for some of us, people will even write books about you.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced that as well. There's a couple of cults who have written books that deal with some of my books, and so I know that is true, and that's not going to stop me, because we have to be bold enough to turn our faces against the cold, harsh political correctness and to tell the truth in the name of Jesus Christ.
Thank you for that. 1-877-548-3675. And let me go to Anthony, who joins us from Pennsylvania. Anthony, welcome, and your question, please.
Thank you for having me on, Janet. Dr. Rhodes, I was just wondering what you feel the Eastern influence in the modern spirituality movement is. It's been my experience through the years, and I was saved late in life, but I kind of wandered and journeyed around religions a little bit, checking them out here and there. I hear a lot of things from Eastern religions in Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, and other people that Oprah really draws her spirituality from. Would you agree?
Well, there's no question about it. In fact, when you look at the people that she's had on her show regularly throughout decades, you'll find Marianne Williamson, which is rooted in New Age thought, which is heavily influenced by Eastern ideas. You've got Eckhart Tolle, you've got Deepak Chopra. And by the way, I've not just read these people's books, I've actually sat under some of their lectures. Mm-hmm. And I have to tell you, real honestly, I remember when I went to see Deepak Chopra and I listened to his lectures, if I was not a Christian and I was not established with the Christian worldview, there's no way that you can walk away from hearing him speak live and not conclude that this guy is very intelligent. He is very intelligent and very persuasive, but, of course, I do have a Christian worldview, and I'm an apologist, and so I can see where he goes wrong. But for the person who is not grounded in Christianity, it's very easy to slip into those kinds of ideas. Now, you also have occultism that Oprah has featured on her shows. People like James Von Prague, who was a medium, and you have all of that. But here's something that I would say that is a distinction between Hindu thought and what Oprah would believe as a New Ager. It is simply this. Hinduism is world-denying. The world is an illusion. And what the goal is to escape the dream that is this world. We want to escape this illusion so that we can really get to reality. The reality that my individual soul is really at one with the universal soul. So the present world, which indicates that I am a distinct individual, that's illusion. And so Hindus are world-denying. Now, New Agers are world-affirming. So the point that I'm making to you is that people who have been involved in the New Age movement, they take what they like from Hinduism, but then they adapt it to Western tastes. And whereas Hinduism, strictly speaking, says that the purpose of reincarnation is to get born again and again and again so that you can finally escape this reality and join with the universal soul, in New Age thought, the idea is that we get born again and again and again, and we just continue to evolve cosmically through the eons of eternity.